Our What's New question of the day is about restaurants. We asked if you plan to eat inside restaurants now that the weather is getting colder. So far, 45% of you are saying you'll order takeout. 21% are saying yes, you will eat inside, and that you've already been doing that. 13% say no. You can keep voting on the 3 News Twitter page. Betsy?
Well, tomorrow is when Governor DeWine gives an update on the COVID risk, and many are wondering if the surge cases are going to mean that some Northeast Ohio counties turn purple. That's the highest risk level. That would include Cuyahoga County, which we know is on the watch list. Now, there are several indicators that the state monitors to determine the alert level, not just the number of new cases, but hospitalizations, intensive care capacity, and ventilator usage are also factored in. As I mentioned, we are on the watch list, and of course, that means we have to chat with our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins. And Mon, I'd have to believe that preparations have been ramping up while we've been waiting for this declaration, if it's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, the preparations have been ramping since the beginning of the pandemic, Bets. And as Jay had said earlier, as of today, we have more than 1,500 people hospitalized with COVID, and those numbers are getting higher than what we dealt with at the beginning of the pandemic. Now, the good news is that hospitals had time earlier this year to put together surge plans, because that's what we feared about most initially. And now those plans are ready to be put in place. A few things, though, are causing grave concern. One being there is no and likely won't be any future shutdowns, according to the governor. But the weather getting colder, we have cold and flu season, and we're heading into the holidays where families are going to gather. But another concern is when all these college kids come home.
There are 56 campuses in the state of Ohio. We are number 3 in the country. 3rd state for the most infection on college campuses with over 10,000. So you think about all those big states like California and Texas, that you would say, oh my goodness, and we're 3rd. And all those students are going to start coming home for Thanksgiving.
So yeah, it's the holidays when they fear we may be inundated with cases as families get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas and the other holidays. And older and possibly immunocompromised families could be exposed. So again, they're warning that what is fueling this spread right now are these smaller, more intimate gatherings of 10 or less people who feel comfortable enough around each other not to wear masks. And if we turn purple, the guidance is to keep our distance from pretty much everybody. So that's something to bear in mind as well, Bets.
Well, we reported just a moment ago that hospitalizations are on the rise. We know that's one of the indicators of this alert level, certainly. And it's not just the number, right? It's about capacity with the hospitals. Where are we with that?
Well, the majority of the patients in the hospital right now do not have COVID. According to the state dashboard, about 73% of hospital beds are full, but only 5% of those are filled with COVID patients. However, again, with the holidays, the weather, the cold and flu season, that number could change significantly. And what's very important, though, is do not delay health care. For instance, what we saw earlier this year, people were delaying health care if they had heart attack symptoms or stroke symptoms, even cancer symptoms. Get to a hospital as soon as you possibly can. They have had 9 months to prepare and become experts at keeping non-COVID patients safe from infection. So you are okay to get the help you need. And tonight at 6, Bets, I'll go over what the local hospitals are planning for.
Absolutely. A very important reminder. Thanks so much for that, Monica. Certainly appreciate it. We'll see you at 6.
Sure.
Well, we're going to turn now, speaking of 6 p.m., to our What Matters Most anchor, Russ Mitchell, over there at the big news desk. What's happening today, Russ?
That desk is pretty big too, Betsy.
It's pretty spiffy. It's rather roomy for me.
I like it. You got donut holes too, which I know you'll talk about later.
That's still to come.
All right, sorry. I'll be quiet about that. Good afternoon to you, Betsy. And good afternoon to you at home. Breaking news at this hour, Tri-C has suspended its spring athletic programs. In a statement, the community college system says because of surging coronavirus cases and the risk of spread, it's suspending spring sports to keep athletes, coaches, and spectators safe. Fall and winter sports, you recall, were suspended back in June. The federal government and Eli Lilly have reached a $375 million deal for its antibody drug to treat COVID-19. This will provide 300,000 doses of the drug within 2 months of receiving approval from the FDA. The company says once approved, 100,000 doses will be available to ship. And another tough day on Wall Street. The Dow tanked once again, sinking more than 900 points. Both the S&P and NASDAQ also down, each losing more than 3.5%. The sell-off blamed once again on COVID-19 cases soaring and the election getting closer. In fact, so close, 6 days away. Betsy.
It's hard to believe. The countdown is certainly on, Russ. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you coming up in just a little bit.
All right, see ya.
Next on What's New, model Chrissy Teigen is opening up about her recent miscarriage. We'll have the details straight ahead in Pop Break.
And then part 2 of our new series, The New You. We'll introduce you to 2 viewers who are determined to live a healthier lifestyle. And of course, one of those things would be your overall mental health, and weather plays a role in that, doesn't it? Today we get to see some peaks of sun. What's coming up in the forecast, Matt?
Oh, yeah, that feels great. Betsy, the sunshine came out today as expected, a little later than some, but at least we saw it. It is going to go back in because we've got the remnants of Hurricane Zeta heading our way tonight and tomorrow. That's going to bring some rain to our area. We'll detail how much and where, and then we'll talk the interesting weekend forecast beyond that.
Hey there, Al. Yes, I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's good. Okay, thank you.
Well, yesterday we kicked off our new series, The New You, by sharing some of meteorologist Jason Fraser's personal motivation to get healthy. Today, we want to introduce you to the 2 viewers who will take the journey with him.
I'm just busy running around and dealing with that, and then I come last, and then by the time I realize I need to take care of me, I'm dead tired.
Meet Katie Lucas. She's a busy mom of 3 in her late 40s who also works as a nurse.
At some point in your life, you got to say, it's time out for fear and those things that keep you from moving forward. And maybe this is going to help me move forward.
And this is Kim Horton. She's in her early 60s, retired for the past few years, and mom to 2 grown kids and a proud grandmother to her first grandson.
So what do I have in common with Katie and Kim? Well, like many of you, all of us have struggled with our weight, and it's only gotten harder during the coronavirus pandemic.
This year has just been challenging on many fronts. for me personally, and I want to feel better. I just am sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
These are smart, successful women. They're active, too.
I consider myself still an athlete. My husband and I play tennis at least 2 or 3 times a week.
And they know the importance of healthy choices.
I understand how obesity can lead to inflammation, and inflammation can lead to disease and so forth.
Yet, like so many of us, they have struggled to make a lifestyle change until now.
It's definitely important for me to put my money where my mouth is.
And that's another thing that we have in common, a desire to do something about it. So we're about to embark on a journey with a little help from the Cleveland Clinic's Wellness Center.
In the Center of Integrative and Lifestyle Medicine, we try to address not just physical pain or physical symptoms, but also look at emotional health.
Over the next 8 weeks, we'll have an opportunity to take a mind, body, and spirit approach to healthier living.
The goal of the program is to learn lifelong habits. The first week may be a nutrition consult. The second week will be a massage therapy. The third week will be acupuncture.
We're ready to get started.
I'm humble enough to admit that I need help. I saw this as a perfect opportunity to just get my butt in gear and reclaim a sense of agency about myself.
But sometimes, doggone it, you got to be selfish and, stop feeling like I just want to run away from home and just say, this is what I have to do for me.
And amen to that. So I want to first thank Katie and Kim for really stepping up and deciding to participate in this initiative. We got hundreds of people who stepped up and said that they really wanted to do this. So we wish that we could include more people, but in the coming weeks, I will have much more information about how you can participate from home on our website, WKYC.com. And you know what, Betsy? We will continue this series. We're going to do this every Monday. So you're going to see updates not only on how to handle hunger, how to lose weight, how to get better nutritional values from some of your meals. So I'm looking forward to this journey. And as you can tell, I might be just a little excited. Can you tell?
You're totally excited. You just have energy to give away practically. But, I'm excited too because we all can learn stuff and we're all going to follow this journey with you. So we'll be kicking your butt along the way too, Jason.
Yep.
And
you know what? And I look forward to it. And you know what? And next week, we're going to be talking about food labels and how to read them and how to grocery shop the right way. So make sure that you tune in to What's New on Monday at 5.
Well, we definitely will be learning from that. Thank you very much, sir. Can't wait until that takes place. And by Monday, that is Election Day Eve. A lot of folks are keeping a very close eye on the forecast, not only for Election Day, but in the days leading up to it. Jay, yesterday we were sitting down looking at the forecast, and literally it's like things get very active just about the time people start having some kind of event planning going on, whether it's sitting down to watch the Browns game or Election Day or whatever. It's like boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, it just breaks loose.
That's the way it tends to go, no question. Matt, after listening to Jason again, your weather word today is inspiration. I think they're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jay, for sure. The weather may not be too much of an inspiration around here, but, we'll try to fix that here. Especially, I'm telling you what, we're looking at long-term. Next week looks fantastic once we get beyond the start. But let's kind of break it down for you here in the forecast. It was so nice to see that sunshine for about 30 minutes this afternoon, at least here on the city's east side. Some of us saw it a little bit longer. You could see the big picture. We had the morning clouds. They cleared out briefly across our northern counties. And now we're back into the clouds again. Those were your midday sun peaks, folks. That's as good as it gets, right? But look at all the moisture and all the cloud cover heading our way. There is a 100% chance of rain tomorrow because we not only have that area low pressure funneling moisture from the Gulf, we also have Hurricane Zeta, which is now making landfall right now across coastal areas of southeastern Louisiana. So the look of it right now, the eye wall is where you get the worst weather. We've had gusts 100 to 110 miles per hour plus within that band. That eye wall is now making it onshore, heading towards New Orleans, which will go downhill in a hurry here over the next hour or so. There's some drier air in the southern half of that eye wall, so I think that's the worst part of the storm. But this thing is a fast mover. It will be up into into Atlanta as we get into the early morning hours, and it'll be out of New Orleans by midnight tonight. That's how quick this system's moving. For us, though, it's going to bring some rain combined with that low pressure in here, so let's time that out with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. We're dry this evening. If you're heading out for a walk or a bite to eat, perhaps, you'll be okay this evening. Those clouds will continue to thicken up, though. But by tomorrow morning, there you go. We've got widespread rain working across the viewing area. We're still thinking the southernmost areas in our viewing area. That's from Mansfield, Worcester, over towards the Canton area. I think you'll have the heaviest rain out of this. So we'll pretty much draw a line along US 30. But pretty much everyone's going to get wet from this. You can see as we head into the afternoon, more rain, and it's just a washout tomorrow. We'll become more scattered as we get later in the day. High temperatures struggling to hit 50 degrees. And we'll likely have some lingering showers and clouds early Friday before it starts to clear out. How much rainfall we're talking? Anywhere from a half an inch to an inch and a half, especially down towards the south. A good thing that you could do tonight, Betsy always reminds people this, go clean the drains around your property. Just make sure everything can flow, especially with all the leaves that have fallen recently. And then things turn active after that. So there goes our system. Friday, we're starting to dry things out. There's your high pressure and sunny weather for your Saturday. Halloween trick-or-treat looking great. Then all eyes turn off towards the west. A sharp cold front will go through here. This will be an inspiration for those snow lovers, and the reason why is because that rain is going to change over to snow Sunday evening, Sunday night as it looks right now, and we'll likely have some lake effect snow around here on Monday. So 3 things to know: sun-filled Halloween, sun-filled Election Day as well, and in between Sunday we've got some rough weather. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast, putting some numbers on it. You can see the rain the next 2 days, and then we have that wild weather this weekend with temperatures dropping Sunday throughout the day. Monday, some lake snow left over, and then we start to clear things out. And the light at the end of the tunnel is next week, looking great. You'll forget everything I've said as we get into Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, that sounds good, Matt. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next half hour. Next on What's New, the city of Los Angeles gets 2 pro sports championships in a month. That's way unfair. The Dodgers have joined the Lakers as world champs. We'll tell you what LeBron James wants Los Angeles to do.
Then we could all use a break from Zoom, right? Well, I'll show you how my little Violet and I do things after Zoom fatigue sets in. We'll have that coming up. Oh, that's a bit.
Yes, I do. It is Wednesday, October 28th, and there's a big debate over whether the Browns are better without Odell Beckham Jr. Yep.
LeBron James wants a parade. This Is Us is finally back on television, and Chrissy Teigen opens up about her recent loss. Kiara Cotton has it all covered in our Daily Pop Break.
It's been almost a month since model and author Chrissy Teigen suffered a miscarriage. Teigen and husband John Legend confirmed the news in a series of intimate photos showing the couple's time in the hospital. Now she's opening up about the experience in an emotional essay saying, "After a couple of nights at the hospital, my doctor told me exactly what I knew was coming. It was time to say goodbye," she wrote. She went on to say, "He just wouldn't survive this, and if I went on any longer, I might not either." Together, Chrissy and John have 2 children, Luna and Miles. This Is Us returned last night for its 5th season, and fans of the show are not okay. Not only did the show tackle current events, including the pandemic and ongoing Black Lives Matter protests, it also introduced a twist in one of the main characters' story. I won't spoil it for you, but just know everything is not as it appears. And if all of this took place in episode 1, there's no telling what lies ahead this season. The king wants what he wants. Akron native LeBron James really wants a parade. In a tweet following the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series win last night, James called for a joint celebratory parade with plenty of masks, saying, "Can we please have a parade? I know we can't, but I want to celebrate with our Lakers and Dodgers fans. LA is the city of champions." While a parade is not likely to happen, a kid can dream, right? But in the meantime, make sure you're wearing your mask, social distancing, and as our Monica Robbins would say, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Back to you guys.
All right, Kiara, thank you very much. Yeah, we can never hear that enough, Betsy. I mean, I know we say it all the time, but I'm glad we do.
Oh, I know. And, you know, the whole LeBron James in the city of champions. But at least we got to have a parade, and we had a very good parade at that. It was just lovely.
Yeah. We've had one in, I don't know, 50 plus years, and now the city of Los Angeles gets to celebrate back-to-back world championships in the span of a month.
Yeah.
So unfair.
In a pandemic.
So unfair.
Ours wasn't in a
During
pandemic.
a pandemic.
Ha ha.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Maybe that's
we
the way
had a parade.
Cleveland spins it. At least we got to have the parade. Okay. Well,
That's true.
I'll tell you what, you know, Jay, I know you've had this. Everybody's had this. We're on Zoom all day long, and I've kept my girls home throughout this pandemic so far from school. Well, sometimes you just got to burn off the energy. That's my little Violet, and we had Zoom fatigue today. It just gets to us, right? So we take dance breaks, and today we busted out a few songs. We took about a half hour. We danced the entire half hour, and it is so great. She recenters and then has a chance to get back in front of yet another Zoom, but you can tell Mommy had just as much fun with that.
That's a precious moment.
By LaRue. Yeah, and you got to do it.
You do, but something tells me, Betsy, after about 20 minutes after doing that, Violet's probably bouncing off the walls again. She has. You talk about energy to give away.
That'd be her, for sure. She is definitely a very high-functioning child. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's a bit of a challenge, so we're learning to funnel it. Go, baby, go. All right, speaking of go, baby, go, we want this thing to go away. Still ahead, what's new? Zeta. It is right now making landfall in southeastern portions of Louisiana. Conditions in New Orleans will be going downhill rapidly over the next hour. We're going to have a live report from Louisiana coming up.
And Betsy, also coming up, wearing a mask. You hear it so often, but there's a brand new study that has startling results. Find out just how many people are wearing a mask and what could change if everyone did.
And we're also going to be talking about wrapping a win. DJ Hazmat has been rocking a Browns victory, but see why some people prefer that he sings the blues. What?
Okay, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the second half of What's New. Time to get a check of our top headlines. Hey.
Hey, I can, Cleveland. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check, check, test, test.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And welcome to the second half of What's New. I hope you're having a terrific Wednesday along with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford.
Yeah, and we have a very busy Wednesday happening. We talked COVID numbers at the top of the hour. Here at the bottom of the hour, we're going to start with the weather big story, which is, of course, Hurricane Zeta, which is right now making landfall in southeastern portions of Louisiana. So our top talker today, I get to move the desk. This is one of my favorite things to do. We get the desk out of the way here. But there is a look at the storm. We have the radar pulled up. This is the New Orleans National Weather Service NexRad radar. And you can see the eye right there coming ashore just to the south of New Orleans. Now, the storm is moving northeast, so New Orleans is going to end up being right in the eye wall, unfortunately, which means they are going to end up experiencing some of the strongest conditions of the storm that rapidly intensified to a Cat 2 just before making landfall. Wind is a big threat. You get surge, you get wind, you get rain, and wind is a big threat. You can see 128 mile per hour wind gusts showing up on the radar. Keep in mind, that is elevated. That's above the surface, but certainly that is a sign of the intensity of the storm, which is going to continue to race northward. And as it does so, it's probably going to be spreading quite a bit of wind damage up into other states before it finally exits the East Coast by the time we get to late week. We will be getting rain from the storm come tomorrow, but it will be a far cry from what they are dealing with down in portions of Louisiana, which is where Jay Gray is right now, who looks absolutely soaked. Conditions in New Orleans will be going downhill momentarily. Jay, obviously stay careful out there, but you know, what are things like there, and how are folks hunkered down on this big storm that's coming in?
Betsy, it's changing dramatically. The wind's starting to swirl and pick up a bit. The rain as well. As you can see, it's falling pretty good right now. But it's that wind you talked about that's going to be the primary issue here. We could see sustained winds that are hurricane speed, something that the New Orleans Metro hasn't seen since Katrina. Now, not comparing the two storms, not even close, but it's the first time they'll have that strong of a wind moving through this area, and it could cause some significant damage. Power outages, that's going to be a major issue. We'll see hundreds of thousands without power across the region. Another big problem could be some structural damage here, especially the taller buildings. We could see some glass that's shattered here, and some other problems that come when you have a storm of this magnitude moving through. If there's any good news, it's that this is a fast-moving system, so it will get through the area pretty quickly. But before it does, it's going to be very intense, very fierce, moving through. You talked about what people are doing here. All the sandbags are in place, all the boards over the windows, and not as many evacuations as you might expect. I think there's two reasons for that. First of all, this is the fifth named storm to make landfall in Louisiana. The previous four, this city, New Orleans, was right in the projected path, but they dodged a bullet, never hit here. This time, as it was coming through, a lot of people looked at it and said, hey, we've heard this story. The last 28, 34 hours or so, really 2 days, 48 hours,
we've seen people take this seriously and get things in place. The other reason they haven't evacuated, this is a fast mover, as I said earlier, so it's going to get through quickly. So a lot of people said, look, we'll ride this out. It's not going to be long, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be here for that long of a period.
Well, certainly our thoughts are with you, Jay. You stay safe tonight, too, as that moves in. But Jay Gray joining us live from New Orleans this evening. Jay?
All right, Betsy, right now it is 3 minutes past the bottom of the hour. Time to get a check of our top headlines in the news right now. And for that, we go to the newsroom. That's where we find Laura Queso. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Jay. Let's get to it. The National Guard has been deployed to Philadelphia after a second night of protest there. This is over the shooting of a black man. Last night, protesters marched peacefully, but then things turned ugly. Some started throwing rocks at police and others started looting. The investigation into the shooting of Walter Wallace Jr., who was holding a knife, continues tonight. Tech company leaders testified virtually before a Senate committee today and were scolded by Republicans for alleged anti-conservative bias in their platforms. Facebook, Twitter, and Google CEOs also received a warning of coming restrictions from Congress. The tech giants have generally been shielded from any legal responsibility for what other people post on their platforms. And Cleveland State University, it's canceled its spring break in March. So now students will have a longer winter break as the university has added an extra week in January. This is all to prevent students from traveling in March and then bringing the coronavirus back to campus. So yet again, another change. We expect more changes as we continue through this pandemic, Jay.
Yeah, Laura, it seems to drag on. I mentioned earlier, now in its 10th month. Hard to believe. We will see you in 25 minutes for What Matters Most at 6 o'clock. Today is Wellness Wednesday here on What's New, and today we're talking about masks. We all know there is a mask mandate in the state of Ohio. Hasn't kept our cases from rising. It also doesn't mean everyone is wearing a mask. A new study by Nature Medicine projected several scenarios. The worst is that our death count here in the United States, which currently sits at just over 225,000, could rise by an additional 500,000 deaths by the end of February. Another showed that if 95% of Americans wore their masks, that number could decrease by 130,000 by the end of February. If 85% of Americans wore their masks, we'd save a potential 96,000 lives. This all according to the study, which also shows about 49% of Americans currently report they always wear a mask. We talked with infectious disease specialist Dr. Frank Esper. He's with Cleveland Clinic Children's, who said even if COVID fatigue is setting in, you must continue to wear your mask.
This is something that's not a sprint. This is a marathon. And with a marathon, it takes endurance. And that really requires every mile of the way, you have to keep pushing yourself to keep going and keep doing everything that you are able to do to prevent this spread. And sometimes when we start seeing these spikes, it's a bit disheartening. And then we're wondering, well, are we doing it? And it doesn't make any difference. If anything, this study shows that it can make a difference.
Dr. Esper also wants to remind parents that if you are taking your kids trick-or-treating or to any Halloween event, make sure they are wearing a mask with their costume, not just the costume mask. That is not enough.
Well, still ahead for us, we are honoring first responders who put the public's safety ahead of their own during this pandemic. And then
Baker got the ball, and I'm like, hey, look at here. He throwing that thing around like he was.
Cleveland DJ Hazmat is back at it. See his latest rap video about the thrilling win over the Bengals on Sunday, and hear if his fans prefer the winning videos or the losing videos.
What?
I mean, I was looking at a photo album.
Well, we're keeping a very close eye on Hurricane Zeta as it makes landfall in southeastern portions of Louisiana. Matt, I'm watching the reports coming in now from the National Weather Service down there in New Orleans. They have sustained winds of 83 miles per hour, gusts to 105 in a little town called Golden Meadow. And the city of New Orleans is now starting to report trees being snapped. So things are going downhill quickly there, certainly. But that storm also plays a big role in our forecast up here in Ohio over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, it definitely does, Betsy. And, you know, I was just thinking, with all the trees that are expected to fall in areas of Louisiana, not just there, but Alabama and Georgia, due to the forward speed of this, you've got all that happening. You have the huge ice storm back in Oklahoma, which has brought down trees across that state. I mean, we are minus a lot of trees across the southern half of the U.S. from just two storm systems. And as you mentioned, Zeta is going to impact us locally, not directly, but we are going to get some moisture off of that. And it's going to combine with that low pressure we've been dealing with for about a week now off towards the west. So let's give you the latest now. Zeta moving inland. Again, the worst conditions are right here in this outer eye wall as it moves in. That's where those strong winds are coming from that Betsy mentioned, getting ready to pummel New Orleans here in the next 30 minutes to the hour. But you can see everything's got that northward movement to it. We've got a lot of moisture coming our way. You're already seeing those darker clouds kind of sinking from the sky as you get out towards areas of northeast Ohio, and it won't be long after that before we see rain overnight tonight. But quite a bit of it. Until then, we're going to deal with increasing clouds. We'll stay dry this evening. It's tonight that those rain chances really ramp up from south to north. So taking those rain chances hour by hour, this is a greater Cleveland area. You can see we really don't see that rain arrive till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. But if you're in Mansfield, Canton, Dover, New Philly, you're going to see it a little bit after midnight. We should start to see those first drip drops. You can see tonight we're dry through the evening, but there you go. Rain overspreads the area from south to north. This will be light to moderate for the most part. Can't rule out some periods of some heavier rain as well. This is how we start our Thursday, Northeast Ohio. Not the best of days tomorrow with the rain coming down. It will become more scattered throughout the afternoon, and I think the best chance for the heaviest rain is the further south and the further east you are. So Sandusky, Erie, Huron, even Lorain counties will likely end up with less rain than we do down towards the south, and that rain will linger into our Friday morning before clearing out. How much are we talking about? An inch to an inch and a half, it looks like right now. Most of the models agree with that. Make sure you clean out your storm drains while we're dry right now, just to make sure that water can flow tomorrow. High pressure, though, builds in briefly behind that. This will be a nice, cool night as we go into Friday night, Saturday morning. Your Halloween looks great as well with sunshine. We'll have warming temperatures up near 50, but then things change. Our next front comes in on Sunday. Earlier in the day, we're going to have quite a bit of wind around. The rain will develop, and then that temperature will crash throughout the afternoon. It'll be a very blustery Sunday afternoon and evening. Rain will likely change to some lake effect snow by Sunday night, and Monday it's going to be a different picture out there. In terms of accumulations, yeah, we could see some favoring the higher terrain, but we'll continue to fine-tune that. Doesn't look like a big hit, but it certainly is going to be a lot different around here by Monday. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. Rain tomorrow, drying out on Friday. There's your dry Halloween. Don't forget those clocks to let them automatically go back Saturday night. And then next week it'll start cool, and we've got a gorgeous finish for Election Day and beyond with sunshine and 60s returning to the forecast. So if we can just hang in there for another 5 days, Betsy.
Right, we just have to get through Monday. Then Election Day, it all calms down, so nobody has to worry if they're going to be voting in person, standing in line. You're going to have decent conditions to do that, most certainly. So thank you, Matt. Definitely need that good news. We're looking forward to your next hit at 7 on Front Row. That's coming up. Thank you. Well, for months now, frontline workers have been putting themselves at risk during this global pandemic, and today we honor their service. It's National First Responders Day, and when you think of COVID-19 and first responders, police officers may not be the first ones to come to mind. But Danielle Wiggins shows how they played a crucial role early on in making sure hundreds could be tested right here in Cleveland.
It was intense.
12 hours a day.
We put the patients, the visitors before our families.
6 days a week.
It was a lot of traffic duty.
These Cleveland Clinic police officers herded cars like cattle as thousands lined up for drive-through COVID-19 testing at the clinic's W.O. Walker Center early in the pandemic in March.
Some people responded like in chaos, like, "Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm feeling sick."
It was the job of officers to keep people calm, safe, and in order. A job Corporal Eric Hudson says they took on when little was known about a new virus with the potential to kill.
This was a place nobody wanted to be at during this time, and we made them feel comfortable.
I'm gonna go inside your nose. So comfortable that 5,500 tests were performed in the first month of the center's opening, and 72,000 performed to date.
Do we have a Cleveland Clinic order today?
As we celebrate National First Responders Day in the middle of a global pandemic, these officers say there's one thing they appreciate most.
Saying thank you. I mean, it goes a long way, especially with everything going on right now. It means a lot.
And the community actually did say thank you in a way that caused these men in blue to show off their pearly whites before they were mandated to be covered with a mask.
The general public was buying us food. We had Uber Eats. Yes, it was a lot of love they showed for us and thanking us for being on the front line during this COVID-19 experience.
We had Uber Eats. We feel that way here in the newsroom sometimes too. It's the little things in life that make such a big difference. If you want to honor first responders today, the website nationaltoday.com also recommends saying thank you, raising money to help them out, or volunteering to support first responders. Love those good stories, Jay. And of course, our first responders, not just the police officers, but firefighters and paramedics, the nurses, the doctors. And then you have to also give credence to the caretakers like the janitorial and custodial staff at the hospitals. You talk about people who are really on the front line and putting themselves at risk. A big shout out to them because they do an amazing job.
I never waste an opportunity when I see any of them to tell them thank you, and I hope everyone does the same. It does go a long way. Well, you may have seen his tremendous videos in the past. Cleveland DJ Hazmat is a ridiculously talented guy. He writes and records rap videos after each and every Browns game. Sometimes that can be difficult. The videos are wildly popular. His latest effort after the win over the Bengals was so good I watched it 3 times. I'm not kidding. It's fantastic. Here's just a little bit of it.
A shootout in a suite with a sweet confidence earner. A game-winning drive and a barn burner. Now Baker's saying,
it really is so good. And the reason I had to watch it 3 times is because obviously the song is fast moving and there's a lot of little lines that I missed the first time that I caught the second time. He is so good. I chatted with DJ Hazmat earlier today. We talked about what it's like to actually rap about a winning team. He hasn't had that opportunity in the past. And guess what? While people actually love all of his videos, the ones after losses tend to get more views.
I think people respond to the losing videos because it helps ease the pain a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Brother.
So the song kind of gets you off the ledge.
It does get you off the ledge. Seriously, Betsy, I feel better after a loss when I watch his video. It's like therapy. It's incredible.
I love the after a win ones though too. It's kind of nice, and you get the little dancing Baker video. I mean, that's the best meme going these days. So certainly keep that going for sure.
It's really well done. The entire video is posted on our website, WKYC.com. It really is worth a full look.
Awesome stuff. Love to see that. All right, everybody, we'll be right back.
Hello. Okay. Yes, we are starting off with quite the debate after that Bengals win without OBJ. All good?
Well, we just couldn't let National Chocolate Day pass without checking in with our friends at Mally's, who say that new treats are in the making as we speak. We caught up with CEO Mike Malley, who told us about how the pandemic has affected their business and that new treats are coming soon.
Well, once we're able to reopen in early May, our retail stores have done just fine. So, we're holding our own. We're not going to throw a parade, but there's no reason to hang our heads either. Cleveland has come back out and wanted their delicious chocolate.
Well, Mike says now they're sticking to their basic treats to make sure that everyone stays safe and socially distanced. However, they will have their new Halloween chocolate-covered donut holes ready this Friday. It's ready to you on Friday, but guess what, Jay? I have a box right here in the studio. I've been smelling these for the last 45, 50 minutes. This is ridiculous.
One time I'm glad I'm not there is right now.
I just told Rob, our camera guru here, I said this would be amazing with a glass of red wine.
Take it home and enjoy it at home.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna happen.
Pretty good?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I won't ask you to speak with your mouth full.
What do you normally
It's the best
say?
thing. It's the best thing I've had all day.
There it is.
All right, there you go. Well, enjoy your chocolate-covered donut holes. In the meantime, it's time for us to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Good Wednesday evening to you, Stephanie. Hello.
Happy Wednesday to you, Jay. We are starting off with quite the debate today. After that win on Sunday over the Bengals without Odell Beckham Jr., some people are saying that the Browns are better off without him. Here's what quarterback Baker Mayfield said about it today.
Well, one, I think it's just completely insensitive to a guy that just tore his ACL. So I'm not even going to comment on it. You never want to lose guys, and that's where I'm going to leave that one.
Wide receiver Jarvis Landry was even more straightforward. On Monday, he told 92.3 The Fan that a lot of the offense is based on OBJ being on the field, and him being there is a big threat that really opens up possibilities. Head coach Kevin Stefanski straight up said he rejects the idea that the Browns are better without OBJ and that he'd rather have number 13 on the field. So as far as they're concerned, that settles that. And now, with the election just 6 days away, people across the country are turning out for early voting in record numbers. The latest reports show that about 73 million Americans have already voted by mail or in person. That's already half of all people who voted in the 2016 presidential election. So far, there have been 48 million mail-in ballots received and 24 million in-person early votes cast. Here in Ohio, you can vote in person early all the way through Monday, the day before the election. And of course, with voting comes those I voted sticker selfies. We want you to text them to us. Send them to us at 216-344-3300. And we also want your videos about your voting experience. Jay, people can send those to us, whether it's their first time or their 50th time, through the Near Me feature on the WKYC app.
Very good, Stephanie. Thank you very much. Well, still ahead on what's new. They say a dog's nose knows. How early dogs can detect COVID-19 symptoms in humans. This story is incredible.
What's that?
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Hi, Al. Ohio saw its second highest number of daily coronavirus cases today. Yes, I do. Good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell. And I'm Laura.
Yeah, I do. Mic check, Monica. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2.
We wrap up our Wednesday of What's New with an incredible story. We know dogs are smart, but this is just incredible. Today's Show Us Something Good comes from Finland. Leaders there are using dogs to sniff out COVID-19 cases. Researchers say they're nearing the 100% sensitivity rate. It's all part of a trial program at an airport there. Dogs are detecting the virus, Betsy, get this, 5 days before humans can even show symptoms. How about that?
They are amazing critters, are they not?
They really are. Every time you think you've learned the most incredible thing about dogs, you hear something like that. That's going to do it for our Wednesday edition of What's New. We're back tomorrow at 5, and we certainly hope you join us then.
What matters most with Russ